Ladies and gentlemen, it's been 500 days, going on 2 years, where Democrats have investigated President Trump in one form or another, and they've found absolutely nothing. His tax returns were supposed to be the holy grail of corruption. Nothing. They found nothing. They were supposed to have indicted and charged President Trump with conspiring alongside a foreign government. That never happened with the Mueller probe. They can't indict him or prosecute him on any crime, yet they continue to accuse him of every crime in every law book, of every legal statute imaginable they accuse him of. And yet they can't find a conviction or a prosecution, or they can't get him in a court of law and say, you did this. Here's the evidence you broke this statute. They can't do it. And every single day their credibility becomes more and more suspect. They have no credibility anymore. But the thing is, suspicion of Trump is it gives people meaning in life. It gives people hope. It gives left-leaning, wonderful, morally superior liberal Democrats. It gives them some kind of satisfaction or some kind of... It fills their soul or their spirit with warmth and joy and happiness. They want to accuse Trump of everything under the sun, especially what happened 2 years ago, which I condemn. But I also condemn the $1 to $2 billion in property damage and 19 lives lost associated with demonstrations in the summer, which I agree with the cause. The cause is a noble cause, but no cause, no matter how noble, can lead to such chaos and mayhem. And so Democrats turn a blind eye to a whole summer. They focus on one day because it suits them politically. Which gets us to the prime time, Liz Cheney, a well-organized plot of Trump that she found out about in the past 500 days of investigating. Now, Liz Cheney and Kinzinger and everybody on that congressional panel, the Democrats, are going to say, well, we found this piece of information and that piece of information. I'm going to continue to do these segments because it's just basic logic. Basic logic will tell you that Trump did not commit a crime. The Attorney General of D.C., the Mayor of D.C., Merrick Garland, the Attorney General of the United States of America, has not leveled any charges at Trump. And you can look, here are articles. The Hill, is Merrick Garland working for Donald Trump? May 24th, 2022. May 2nd, will justice get to Trump? Garland is facing questions. Okay, justice, we're seeing justice. The man didn't commit a crime. He didn't work with another country, or he was not installed by the Kremlin. He never did those things. He didn't engage in campaign finance violations like the Clinton campaign that had to pay a major fine to the FEC for purchasing the Steele dossier, which by the way, was compiled with help from the same country they accused Trump of being installed by. Here you have Garland faces growing pressure as investigation widens, New York Times. So, I mean, why is Merrick Garland throttling the Trump investigation? They've convinced themselves that there's something there. We have tens of billions of dollars in budget for intelligence agencies to compile data on the menace to democracy that Trump is supposed to be. He's supposed to embody, or he's supposed to have committed so many crimes in a clandestine manner that all these investigations need to happen. They're not finding anything on Trump, okay? This is a conspiratorial theory in the minds of apoplectic, oftentimes hysterical, highly educated, virtuous, really wonderful liberal Democrats. People on the left need something to focus on. They don't have any policies. We can look. The country is in shambles. Inflation 8 to 9%, GDP declining, recession, oil prices and gas prices doubling under mashed potato brains. Oil is at $120 per barrel. Layoffs in Silicon Valley, and now you're going to see layoffs in industries throughout the country. geopolitical nightmare while Democrats are in office. This was, by the way, that geopolitical nightmare was supposed to happen under Trump. Gee, I wonder why it didn't happen under Trump. Then they spin it to, well, thankfully, mashed potato brains isn't president. Could you imagine if it happened under Trump? It's like, well, it didn't happen under Trump because he actually was a good president. Trump was a very good president. Democrats didn't like a great economy and a good foreign policy. They thought that there was something to the Steele dossier and the meeting with George Papadopoulos alongside Alexander Downer, who has ties to the foundation and who, by the way, there was actually a recording of George Papadopoulos saying, oh, yeah, nothing that exculpatory evidence showing that George Papadopoulos recorded stating that he knew nothing about what he was accused of knowing and that it was all an absurd nonsense, that he doesn't think the Trump administration was conspiring alongside any government. But see, again, you have these people who are just so obsessed. Hit subscribe, by the way, to this channel. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. I have a segment right after this on the Stock Market Crash channel. That's below in the description section. In the Bitcoin Crash channel, hit subscribe there as well. I have a segment after this also on the Bitcoin Crash channel. That's below in the description section. And I've told everyone in September of 2021 that the market would tank and the economy would tank. And we're seeing that right now. We're seeing that today. And we're just seeing that. It's only going to get a lot worse, ladies and gentlemen. A lot worse, because the Democrats in power right now, and we can't wait until November, when Trump Republicans take over the House and Senate. But the Democratic Party has zero interest in boosting the economy or an economic rebound. To the contrary, they are going full steam ahead with their policies, which led directly to the inflation, gas prices, recession we're seeing. There's a reason that 2021 was actually decent in terms of the economy and stock market, and there's a reason in 2022 it's completely tanked. You pumped $10 trillion into the economy, and this is why they have to focus on Trump through fiscal and monetary stimulus. And then you inflate bubbles in crypto, inflate bubbles in the stock market, inflate bubbles in industries throughout the country. Then you open up the economy, and there's supply and demand, complete chaos. Supply chains are obliterated. Demand for commodities and goods and fossil fuels are through the roof. As Democrats want to save the planet from fossil fuels, they make it difficult for oil and gas companies to operate. That's why you have 14 states suing, or oil-producing states suing the President Mashed Potato Brains and his administration, suing his administration. Within the lawsuits, they say that his policies are causing a massive increase in the cost of oil and gas. And they'll never take responsibility for anything. If you say, oh, well, inflation's at 8 to 9%. Oh, he doesn't control inflation. Mashed potato brains doesn't control inflation. Well, or gas prices are at, oh, he doesn't control commodity prices. Well, we're heading into a recession. He can't control the entire economy. Okay, a geopolitical nightmare. He can't control what's happening in other country. It's like, no, his policies influence these things. That's a logical rebuttal. They'll never, with Trump, he was accused of being installed by another country because a dossier was created by his direct political rival full of nonsense and absurd allegations that were false. And then a meeting that George Papadopoulos had was said to have started everything. He was set up and framed. And exculpatory evidence was hidden from the courts. And then they believe that, but Democrats can't wrap their highly educated brains around the fact that this administration has negatively impacted all of those things: inflation, the economy, GDP growth. We're heading into a recession because of his policies. When you focus on Build Back Better after your political party has pushed to end economic activity to save people, that's a big problem. Then you get sued by 14 states and oil and gas associations. That's a huge problem because your policies have directly impacted the price of, filling up your fuel tank. We're not even getting to food prices. which all the food, they're transported to supermarkets in trucks that run on diesel, and diesel gas is like when you pump your gas and is going through the roof. So they don't see how the economy can be impacted by his policies. The left doesn't. They don't understand. They don't have even a basic understanding of economics. Even the wonderful you look at Robert Reich or Paul Krugman, and it's if this was taking place during Trump's administration, 8 to 9% inflation, doubling of gas prices, negative GDP growth, recession, layoffs now, they would say obviously it's Trump's policies. But they can't possibly say it's Biden's policies, because you find this in every field, not just economics, but you'll have an economist that it's a liberal Democrat first, economist second. There'll be a liberal Democrat first and a historian second. You see it with Woodward and Bernstein. They're saying that he conspired against the U.S. government. Then why didn't Merrick Garland indict him? Look, I think Trump is a fantastic president, and I want him back because we had a great economy and a great foreign policy. Objectively, life was better under Trump than under Biden. Objectively, you'd have to be a complete imbecile not to believe that. But if he was indicted because there was evidence that showed that he conspired against the United States government, I wouldn't vote for him. But guess what? They're not going to find that evidence. They haven't after 500 days of investigation. It's been 500 days. We're going on 2 years. They go from one failed attempt at getting Trump, and they believe all these conspiratorial theories and nonsense, to another failed attempt. But they don't stop because they have all of media is yelling at the top of their lungs. They're all yelling at the top of their lungs that Trump committed this, he committed that, it had to happen. Here, we're so suspicious. There's got to be, where there's smoke, there's got to be something going on. Okay, they find nothing. And I'm going to continue to do these segments because they found nothing. So go find something. And make sure it doesn't point to you. Because Ted Cruz had a very interesting discussion with a government representative. Make sure it doesn't point to you if you're the government. And Ted Cruz will tell you that. Ted Cruz will tell you, make sure it doesn't point to you. But anyway, hit subscribe to this channel right now. Look, it was a bad idea. Trump having those demonstrations that day was a bad idea. Very bad idea. Nothing good was going to come from that. It was just a bad idea. And, marching there was also a bad idea. That wasn't a good idea either. It wasn't criminal, though. Okay, Trump has done a lot of great things, but he made some mistakes. That was a mistake. And it would be nice to see Trump back again. The interesting thing is I did a segment on DeSantis, and a lot of people said, don't divide us, AJ, don't divide us. No, I'm not dividing anyone. Okay, I like Trump a lot. I think he's a fantastic president. I want him back in the Oval Office because we had a great economy and a great foreign policy that opposed the Lincoln Project, that opposed never-ending military quagmires. That's a moral imperative to vote for Trump. That alone is a moral imperative that should compel anyone to vote for Trump. But if DeSantis is a better candidate, it's like, do you want to win? I'm guessing to my 14-minute crowd, if you've lasted this long, where my heart, where I stand. I want Trump back in office, but I also want Democrats, I don't want the country to suffer anymore from Democratic Party policies. Because it's obviously, you have to be a complete imbecile and know nothing about politics to see that the country is crumbling. And it's directly because of Democratic Party policies. I wrote in the Federalist in October 2021 that we would have a market crash and an economic downturn because of Democratic Party policies, and it was spot on. I predicted everything that's taking place. But do you want to win, or do you want to just, have Trump back? I want Trump to be back, and I don't think that I think he's going to run. I don't think it'll be DeSantis as the nominee, but I do think that DeSantis as the nominee would be a lot easier to defeat a Democrat because you wouldn't have the entire system. The entire system, I mean, for that reason, it's true. You want Trump to win to show, yet again, the system, the very corrupt system, lost to a person who's going to go ahead and implement a foreign policy that's opposed by the war hawks and an economic policy that's opposed by people who want to tank the economy. But DeSantis would have a much easier time gaining victory. I think so. But again, I don't think even that probably won't even happen. It'll be Trump, and it could be Trump DeSantis, which would be fantastic too. If DeSantis is his vice president, that would be an amazing ticket. Or if it's DeSantis president and Trump vice president, think about that. Which I don't think President Trump would ever agree to that or want that. But that would actually be fantastic. That would throw the ultimate curveball. But anyway, hit subscribe to this channel right now. I'm going to do these segments more, throughout the week. They haven't indicted Trump, and they never will. They haven't indicted him, and they never will. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Thank you so very much. Because he didn't commit a crime. Hit subscribe right now to this channel. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel and the Bitcoin Crash channel below in the description. And thank you so very much. If you want to support my work, my Patreon is below. Throughout this week, ladies and gentlemen, there will be the televised Congressional